YouTube, welcome back to the channel, man. Today I'm gonna get into how to make beats for Lucky. Let's get right into it. So while making these type of beats, you of course want to go for a BPM a little bit slower. So I usually go for 130 to 150, something like that. And with these type of melodies, you of course don't want them to be too dark or too happy. So I always like to stay a little bit in the middle, if that makes sense. All right, so I'm gonna get right into it. So we'll start out in Analog Lab for the main melody right here. I got the Ether preset. I believe it's a stock preset right here. And I'm in C minor. And I'll start out with this melody. Like I said, it's a little bit ambient, so it's not too dark or too happy. It's kind of in the middle. So the way I laid this down is I start out with the root note right here with the C. Then I copied it over an octave right here to the C4 to kind of add some low end to the melody. And I made this little interval at the top, this little counter melody. It starts on D sharp right here. Then it goes down to D. So it's the half step that makes it sound a little bit darker. And when it goes from the D sharp to the D, I also added a little G at the bottom to kind of fill the frequencies up, make it sound a little bit more interesting. Then I brought the root note back in, the C right here. And then I also added a G up top. So it's the same note as we added here, but I just pitch it up an octave. Like I said, I also play some bottom notes under it. So from C it goes to D sharp, to G sharp, to A sharp right here. Use the same little interval with the bottom notes right here as I use right here. When I had that laid down, I believe I just copied it straight over and put the velocities down a little bit to make it sound a little bit less harsh, so a little bit more ambient. So it might look complicated at first, but yeah, it really isn't. And for the effects on that, start out with the basic EQ, just kind of cleaning up the signal a little bit, lowering the sub lows right here, and also cutting some of the high frequencies out. Next, I opened up this plugin right here. I don't believe I ever used this plugin before. It's a little like vintage cassette plugin. Kind of makes it sound a little bit more vintage. Pretty much the same thing RC20 does, but I'll be using RC20 all the time. So I thought, like, why not switch it up a little bit? So I got the clean tape preset right here, and I kind of messed with the knobs a little bit. I don't exactly know what they do, but I just made it sound good, I guess. And next, to add some ambience, I added a delay. These settings right here, and Valhalla vintage verb with these settings right here. All right, so when I had that laid down, I wanted to add some low frequencies to the melody. So I went to Keyscape and got the LA Custom C7 wash preset, and I basically followed the root notes. So of course you got the C right here, made it go up to D sharp, then to G sharp, and to A sharp. And as you can see, just copied that straight over right here. Then I copied it down 2 octaves to kind of fill up the frequency spectrum, make it sound a little bit more full. So right here, started out on these notes right here, pitch it up an octave and pitch it down an octave. And also make sure to mess around with the velocities a little bit. So for the effects on that piano, start out with the EQ again, just kind of cleaning up the signal, making it sound a little bit more clear. And next, to blend it in with the main melody, added the same Valhalla vintage verb preset, but turned the mix down a little bit more to kind of tuck it in the back a little bit. So with the main melody and the root notes right here, it sounds like this. And that just adds another layer to it, which we can take out in a verse or something like that. All right, so if we take a look at the frequency spectrum right now, you of course want your whole sample to sound full. So with the main melody right here, kind of fills up the mid frequencies. These low piano notes, they of course fill up the low end. So to fill in the high frequencies, I went to Keyscape and got the same preset right here, the LA Custom C7 wash, and I laid down this melody right here. This is what it sounds like by itself. And like I said, it adds some high frequencies, some ambience to it. For the effects on that melody, start out with the basic EQ, cutting out the sub lows and also lowering some of the low mids right here. Next, to kind of pan it out, I went to Shaper Box, got the pan preset, set it to 2 bars right here, so it kind of pans out from left to right a little bit slower. And also turned the mix down to 58% right here to add some ambience to it, to blend it with other samples. Once again, went into a delay right here, and added a Valhalla vintage verb to it, the same preset we used before. And I didn't really overthink this melody. The way I laid this down is I just went to the main melody right here, copied it straight over, left these bottom notes out, copied it over, and pasted it into the keyscape right here. When I pitch it up an octave, as you can see, it's the exact same melody, but I just made the velocities a little bit different, kind of make it sound a little bit more natural. So yeah, I basically laid down one melody, copied the root notes over, made a new melody out of that, and also copied these top notes over and also made a new melody out of that. So when I had those 3 melodies laid down, I still was missing something, so I went into expand and I got the deep fret preset right here. I believe it's heart lead. So basically just wanted to add like a little top melody, a little repetitive melody, which you'll be hearing in LUCKI beats a lot, to kind of get like stuck in your head, if that makes sense. So with the bottom notes of the piano, the main melody, and that lead melody sounds like this. So next what I did is I rendered the melody out right here, and then I reversed it. So now it sounds like this. This sounds cool as well, but it didn't really fit in with the main melody we had laid down. So what I did is I chopped all these little parts up and I kind of delayed them a little bit, kind of arranged them a little bit different. Next I click this button right here, which is new in FL21. And what that lets you do is you can kind of fade in these audio clips a little bit, if that makes sense. So you can basically look at this as a volume automation. So it basically like fades in smooth instead of just coming right in. And of course I had all these little individual audio clips right here. So I rendered that out again. So with the main melody and the top notes of the piano, that sounds like this now. And that sounds a whole lot better compared to what we laid down before right here. And of course I put some effects on that as well. So what I did is I started out with the EQ, basically cutting all of the lows and the mids out to really make the high end stand out. Next I added fruity chorus to it to kind of mess with the stereo image a little bit. Also added the same delay and the same reverb right here to blend it in with the other samples and add some space to it. So yeah, we ended up with 4 melodies. Then I structured it out right here and put some drums under it. So let's get into that. For the arrangement of the beat, start out with the main melody and the intro. Then after 4 bars, made these top notes of the piano come in, as well as the counter melody we added at the end. Next we got a 16-bar hook right here with the main melody playing throughout the whole hook. And at the second part of the hook, the last 8 bars, I added the top notes of the piano as well as the low notes to it to kind of build up the tension a little bit, so you don't have all the melodies playing at the beginning of the beat. Next I have a 16-bar verse right here where I took out the main melody completely and only left these keyscape, like the top melody. Also with the low root notes at the first 8 bars of the verse. Then at the second 8 bars right here, I added the counter melody and I rendered this melody out right here. And what I did is I kind of reversed it and pitched it up a whole octave. That sounds like this with the counter melody and top notes of the piano. So without this melody right here, it sounded too flat, so I just added that for some ambience to kind of tuck it in the back a little bit. With effects on that, start out with the EQ, cut in pretty much all of the lows and the mids out again. Next I put some halftime on it to kind of slow it down, add some more ambience to it. And to add on to that ambience, I added a Valhalla finish verb again and turned the mix up to 50%. Alright, so for the drums, of course, start out with the basic 2-step hi-hat, which I switch up later, and a basic clap. That's what that sounds like. As for the 2-step, to add some more bounce to the beat, I took some notes out and added some rolls to it. So the first roll right here is basically just a basic note cut in half. Then the 4th note, I just took that out completely to add some like bounce to it. Then at the end of the first bar, I added this roll to it as well. And the second bar pretty much got a basic 2-step going on, which switches up at the 3rd bar right here. We got 2 notes, then another note cut in half, and I also left that 4th note out right here, which I also did right here. Then for the 4th bar, I added this roll right here, which I pitched down. So once again, make it sound a little bit more unique and it kind of catches your ear a little bit different. Also, another thing I like to do is add these low hi-hat notes to it to add some like low frequencies to the hi-hats, kind of spice them up a little bit. And next what I did after the first 4 bars, just copied that straight over. Alright, so next for the 808 right here, went to my drum kit and I got the Flutter 808, sounds like this. And basically just by following the root notes, I laid down this melody right here. So yeah, like I said, just by following the root notes, started on C, kind of laid this rhythm down right here. Then of course made it go up to D sharp, and kind of add this little accent to it to add some tension to it, add more bounce to the 808. Then copied this straight over to the G sharp, but kind of delayed this note a little bit to make it sound a little bit more unique, so it's not as repetitive. And by following the root notes, I added this A sharp at the bottom right here. And of course I add this little tension note, same as I did right here. So next I copied this straight over, but I kind of switched it up at the end a little bit. So what I did is I cut this note up right here to add another tension note to it. And I also pitched this A sharp up an octave to once again make it sound more unique and different compared to this part right here. Next I went into my drum kit again. I got this open hat and this triangle just to add more bounce to the drums. I added these little 2 open hats at the beginning. Then I added this little open hat at the end to kind of fill up some empty gaps, add some bounce to it, and then I just copied that straight over right here. And for the triangle, basically added that halfway into the first bar, just copied that straight over to the 5th bar right here. So with the second part of the hook right here, that sounds like this. For the ones who noticed, I made this clap pattern unique, and I added this little extra clap to it, delayed this one a little bit to the left to kind of add on to the bounce of the drums. So lastly, got this counter snare right here, and a no lie snare, which I added on the end of the 8th bar to once again add on to the bounce of the drums. For that counter snare, I just filled up some empty gaps, added 2 notes right here, basically copied that straight over, and ended it out with the basic snare roll right here. And that's what that sounds like. These 2 snares really like complete the whole drum pattern, especially the no lie snare, which I add on the end of every 8 bars, adds a lot of bounce to it as well. Then lastly, made these little cuts in the hi-hats and the 808 to kind of help with the arrangement of the beat and make it clear that a hook is transitioning into a verse right here. And after that, added this little riser to it, as well as these transitions, and yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Alright, so that's how you make beats for Lucky, man. I want to thank y'all for watching. Like always, make sure to let me know in the comments what y'all trying to see next on the channel. Also, don't forget to check out my drum kit. I'll have it linked in the first link in the description down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We're also close to 7K, so I want to thank y'all for that. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. And that's it for me today, man. So, I'll catch y'all in the next video. Y'all stay safe, man.